Hello, welcome back. If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Amy and today I have a very special video. I am doing a collaboration video with my good friend here on YouTube. Her name is Natalie. Her YouTube channel is called My Daily Sweet. I've had the pleasure of meeting her in person very recently. She came to Vancouver in December, I think it was, beginning of December. So anyway, for today's video, we wanted to talk about our own experience shopping pre-love versus shopping retail. This is my Chanel Jumbo single flap. I'll try to link it down below so that you guys can find it if you want to join the Facebook group from where I bought this one. The seller that I bought it from, it was called Momoku Luxe. By the way, that Facebook group is actually private if you don't know already, and you do need to request to be accepted into the group. For me, when I purchased this bag, the obvious pro is that this is a single flap, so it was no longer available when I bought it. It was a discontinued style. The classic styles at Chanel, we all know how expensive they are. They always go up in price. Obviously, this was a single flap, so they no longer even make it. So I guess it's not a fair, it's not a direct comparison, but if I were just to compare the actual size of the classic flap, a jumbo flap nowadays goes for how much? I don't even know. But I'm pretty sure with taxes here in Canada, where I live, it is over $8,000. When I bought this bag, I did actually end up saving quite a bit of money. I did pay it in US dollars though, because the seller was in the US, and I believe I paid under 3,800 US dollars at the time. So I was still saving quite a bit of money. Another advantage that I gained from buying this bag pre-loved is that of course, it was my own decision. I always look for pristine to excellent condition bags. So even though this was a pre-loved bag, and obviously it has been used because there are some wear and tear, and I did mention it when I was unboxing the bag, it is still in general a really well kept and really well cared for bag. As you can see, the structure is still quite nice. In the pre-love market, you'll find anywhere from brand new bags even to, of course, really well used and vintage bags, but it just depends on your own preference and what you're willing to pay for. I think the general consensus nowadays also is that Chanel's quality is going down. Obviously it's general, but it is happening a lot more. So the fact that I was able to get an older version of this bag, I do think that the quality back then was really good. I mean, I can only judge it with this bag. I guess this is one of my oldest bags. Actually, that's not true. I do have the Alma PM, which I did buy brand new at the time at the retail store, and I have to say the quality is excellent. But anyway, the Alma is always really well made. Regardless, I think that's just the general consensus, and I think sometimes buying pre-love, you do have the advantage of better construction, craftsmanship, better quality leather as well. If I were to consider buying this bag brand new from the retail store for $8,000+, I would be super careful and paranoid and just like super babying the bag, right? But because this was pre-love, even though it's still a lot of money, I just feel a little bit more at ease when I do use it. I'm not as paranoid about bumping it into people and such, and so I'm super happy with the fact that I did buy this one pre-loved. Okay, so getting into some of the disadvantages or cons of buying pre-loved, and I obviously advise you to do, is that you need to do a lot of research. You can also not do a lot of research, but chances are you'll run into some problems. So research meaning you have to know a lot about the bag. You also have to really be diligent looking into the seller, the seller's feedback, and I guess just be really diligent at asking lots of questions and photos. And of course, depending on your gut feeling when you interact with the seller, you can get a feeling of how genuine that person is, and it is very time consuming. That's basically the main con, and if you don't love doing that, then buying pre-love is probably not for you. Even though you have a really good feeling and let's say the description is extremely accurate, you will probably still have to re-authenticate it. Of course, it's optional, it's up to you. When I bought this bag, it already came with its authentication from Eaton Seller or Eaton Silly, but I still had to do it a second time just to double check, because you never know. The other obvious disadvantage of buying pre-loved is that not everything will always be present, so you won't get the whole shopping experience at the retail store. You might not even get a box, the original box. You might be missing the authentication card or the original dust bag, and etc. Personally, for me, when I buy pre-loved, I prefer having at least the card that comes with it. Dust bag, it depends, I suppose. I do prefer having it, but that's not the deal breaker for me. But the actual card, even though, you know, it's common knowledge that even though it doesn't come with the authenticity card, that it can still be an authentic bag, I just prefer it personally. Chances are, because the item is so expensive in Canada anyway, if anything you import, if it's over $20 value, a customs agent will look at it and they will determine whether they will tax you or not. Most of the time they do, so chances are for a Chanel bag you will. So that's something that you also have to factor in the cost. And finally, when you buy pre-loved, depending on where you buy it from, right? It could be a really well-known established consignment store such as Fashion File. They'll have a really good return policy or exchange policy, so that's a lot more reassuring and a lot more flexible. But when you buy it from private sellers, they might not have as much of a flexible policy, right? So when I bought this bag, the seller did have a return policy. I think it was it 2 weeks, but she did charge a restocking fee. I think it was it 15%, I think. Basically, you'll also have to look into the possibility of you not liking the bag and thus having to return it, if there is a return policy even, and if there's any fees or penalty associated with it. Having said all that, I didn't regret buying this bag pre-loved. Obviously, for me, the main thing is I wanted it in single flap, which was not readily available. It wasn't available at all. I also did save a little bit of money, not a lot, because I mean, I'm sure the person who bought the bag initially was probably paying about that same amount of money, so they probably got their money's worth. It's a win-win situation. In terms of the description and the condition of it, like I said, I always look for excellent condition, and it was. I have to say that I'm really happy with it, except that, like I said, the seller was not as or maybe she just missed it, I guess, in this case, such as this tiny little nick on the leather. It's just from, you know, wear and tear. I don't know if it will even pick up on the camera, but it's so tiny and it's there. So that's one. What else did I notice that was not mentioned in the description? So basically, you know, I was kind of surprised by that when I saw it, and I did mention it to the seller and she apologized, and I was like, you know what, it's fine, because in general it was still in really good condition, so I didn't really want to return it. I wanted to keep the bag. The other thing also was that the dust bag that it came with, the original dust bag that it came with, it was kind of, at the time I thought it was really dirty. See all those white marks on it, and I had no idea what it was. I just thought it looked really dirty, and I just thought that it should have been mentioned. Other than the little details that I mentioned, everything else was great. But because of those little details, I was paranoid. Obviously, because at the time I was just getting back into Chanel. I did buy a Chanel bag like a long time ago, but it was so long ago and I still didn't really have a lot of knowledge about Chanel, and I was just really getting into it more seriously, that I was paranoid. And when I did get it re-authenticated, I had so many questions. I was asking about the dust bag, whether it's authentic. I was worried about some of the misalignments on the bag. Grommet starts right at the line, but this one is on top of the line. So that was my misalignment. Just worry about the bag not being super symmetrical. I had to reconfirm that with another authenticator, and I did use Sabina Lind. If you guys don't know her, she does have a YouTube channel as well, but she really doesn't post much. She's a little bit more active on Instagram and by email, so if you want to get your bags authenticated by her, she does a lot of Chanel and Hermes, I think some LV, I'm not sure. I think she does mainly bag authentication, so you guys can email her. I don't know her personally, I'm just telling you who I went to authenticate my bag, but she reassured me that everything was fine and that the alignment especially, that's super common, and I have to attest to that because I have some misalignment with this bag, which comes from the Chanel store, so I personally know that that's true, and it's a very common thing among I guess any brand really. Now I want to get into this really lovely Chanel mini flap in the square black caviar that I did buy brand new at the Vancouver boutique in Holt Renfrew. We only have one, so unfortunately I bought this in December 2016. It was part of the Cruise 2017 collection, so only after 2 short months from buying the Chanel Jumbo, I went ahead and bought this one. I specifically chose this bag because I think I had the most dramatic experience with this one. Let's talk about the pros first. So obviously, buying from the retail store, you get the whole shebang, the whole experience. You gain purchasing history and relationship with your SA. Another advantage is that you get to try the bag in person, which was the case for this bag. I say that because there were items from my Chanel store that I didn't try in person before paying for, but there were usually things that were set aside for me, and they were usually smaller things such as SLGs. Bags, did I do that? I might have, but I no longer have them. I think it was the boy. Was it the boy? I can't even remember. Being that it is also a brand new bag, you are the first person to own and to put your wear and tear in it. And knowing me, or if you bought from me or know me, all my bags are in pristine to excellent condition, and that's how I intend to keep all of them. It's a little bit unusual, but does apply to really hot items. So not only for Chanel, but for Hermes bags, especially if you're looking at the really popular Birkin, Kelly. A lot of these really hot items, they are sometimes less expensive than buying pre-loved. Actually, a lot of times less expensive than buying pre-loved. For whatever reason, these bad boys go for a little bit above retail when you buy it from a reseller or a consignment store or personal shopping. Obviously they have to take a fee, and that's very normal because these are so limited and it's based on supply and demand. So that's why sometimes buying something like this in store, you actually end up saving money. You're not really saving money because you're really paying for the retail price, but it is less than the pre-love or the consignment market value. So yeah, that's an unusual advantage, but it does apply to this bag. All right, let's talk about some of the disadvantages. Being that it was such a hot item, and also this was from the Cruise collection at the time, I had to line up. In fact, my friend had to line up too, and she was actually kind enough to line up for me. She was ahead of me. I was already in the line too, but I was way behind. She was there before me. She got inside before me, and that's how she was able to get a hold of this. But the point is, because these are such hot items, they are in such limited quantity that sometimes you don't get to buy it. So the whole buying experience, even though you are getting the whole retail experience, was quite stressful. Trust me, it was a stressful day. It was crazy. The store was packed. I'm sure everybody was eyeing this bag when I was holding it. There's a bit of imperfection on this bag, and I still had to buy it because it was the last one. Because in Vancouver, very funnily, we still have only the one boutique. There's nowhere else you can buy Chanel bags, so you have no choice but to buy from there, or you buy pre-love, I suppose. I'm sure there are a lot of similarities with your experiences. You can comment down below and let me know. But basically, because we are the only boutique, obviously stock is super limited on such a hot item worldwide, really. You basically have to make the decision of whether you're gonna get it or not, because someone else will anyway. So yeah, so that was basically what happened to this bag. And when I was referring to the flaw that I had to accept, it was actually another alignment issue. The stitches are completely aligned with the pocket, which is fine, but it is a bit shifted. So it's very, very strange. There's a little bit more space here, almost an inch, and then here it's like half an inch of space between the edge of the bag and the pocket. So it's a little crooked, right? And it's very strange because the bag itself is not crooked, or at least I don't think it is, but maybe it is, and I don't even know how they managed that. But at least the front is completely perfect. So I mean, it's as perfect as I can see from the naked eye, and everything else is fine, obviously. So I mean, it was something that bugged me at first. This imperfection has become kind of like the signature of this little bag, and it is mine, and I have no intentions of letting it go. And so it's kind of like, you know, a little child or baby almost. You know, everybody has flaws, me included, and I just accept it the way it is, and I love it the way it is. These are basically my buying experiences comparing two bags, one pre-love and one brand new from the retail store. In the case of the jumbo, the little things that were not mentioned or that was missed was not a huge deal breaker for me, and I really did not want to go through the hassle of returning it and losing 15% of the price. Obviously I would have done it if it was in terrible condition, and in that case I would probably be able to argue my case anyway, but they were very, very little and minute, so I didn't mind that. And of course the seller was very, very kind. And also with the dust bag, she did offer to buy me another brand new dust bag from eBay, which we did. So I'm happy about that, you know, like it made the whole experience really, really pleasant. Now with my retail experience, even though it was stressful and the bag is not perfect, it was in itself a really good experience as well. It was a learning experience. It also boils down to the person that you deal with. I think at the end of the day, that's what everything boils down to. It's really just the whole interpersonal experience. All in all, I would still continue to buy pre-loved, but I think my personal preference is still buying brand new from the retail store. I think personally, I'm just a person who likes my things looking nice. I just like my things looking in really, really good condition, like good to excellent condition. And even though I do use my bags, I make the conscious effort to no, not baby, I still use my bags, but I just make the conscious effort to be careful. And that's just my own preference. I do really like the whole retail experience. I do having all the packaging. I do like to keep an active relationship with my essay. It's not like I buy tons, but I buy at least every year, just enough so that my essay doesn't forget me. What else? And yeah, I just like my things to look brand new and for me to put in the wear and tear. Please comment down below and let me know what your buying experiences have been. What's your pattern? Do you prefer to buy brand new retail like me, or do you prefer buying pre-loved? In case you guys ask me, which I know you will, and are wondering where my jewelry is from, I'll also have them linked down below. They're just from Happiness Boutique. This little circle necklace is one necklace, and I love layering it with my initials necklace from LV. And I also have this matching little bracelet with the circle pendant. It's super cute, and they're all 14 karat gold plated. Go ahead and watch Natalie's video. She has a slightly different experience from mine, so it'll be interesting for you to see both sides. I'll have her video linked down below so that you guys can check her out. Anyway, I've had so much fun talking about my different perspective of buying pre-love versus new, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video or learned something new. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you're brand new to my channel, I would love to have you back, so it would be cool if you decide to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you all. Have a great day, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye!